Yo everyone, welcome back to BizCraft. Today we're talking about following up because following up is super important, super important. Whoa, jump scare from the big old Iron Daddy over here. For those who saw the last video, you would have seen my thumbnail. That was different gravy, bro. That's the best work I've ever produced. That was some art, really, at the end of the day. It was some art. So, little recap on the old series. What have we been up to? We made this. We made the sheep farm. We made this little farm here, a few crops. Pretty standard stuff. But today, we're building the house. We're building the house. We don't have a house. We don't have a house, so we need one. I could build it up here. That's what I was thinking. I feel like I'm not going to do that because it's annoying to climb up all the time up to the house. I feel like in a show where we're talking about leverage, building the house up here is a bit stupid. So these are different ideas, different things we can do, but we've done all these now. Coolio. So, what is the importance of following up? So, I've written in my notes here that it's the thing that separates, pros from kind of people who want that instant gratification, because following up is so boring. And there's levels to the game. Like there's levels to understanding how to best follow up in terms of resources. And for a lot of people who think it's boring or don't like it or whatever, this might be an episode for you because it really explains the benefits of following up and how to best follow up in regards to your time and making sure that, you're just spending your time right, because it's easy to think that following up is, kind of not worth your time or something like that. You can just message 50 new leads or whatever, instead of just going after leads that clearly didn't want your offer in the first place. That's what it seems like, but it's not the case. It's not the case. When you follow up, you give someone you give the potential customer a dilemma. You say they've ignored your message. If you follow up enough times, the person will realize, okay, they're just going to keep following up until they get going, until they get the response that they want. So they're just going to spam my inbox. So let me just message them back because I'm a civilized person. You make them make decisions like that. Like, am I just going to be a psycho and never message them back, or am I going to message them back? And you just have to put yourself in that position where you're just going to constantly be hounding for them right there. And that's kind of what you need to do, in all honesty. That's the best way. All right, I reckon this is going to be my new bed, possibly. And we'll build the house like here. I have no idea what I want the house to look like, to be honest. Should I level out this ground? I don't know. Maybe we'll level this out and we can build it here. Let's grab some dirt. I've already got a bit, which is good. But first I'm going to place the chests down. Let me place them. We'll just place them here. We'll just place them. Bruh. Where are we placing the chests here? We got to get onto the meat of the episode, which is the business, which is the agenda, the business agenda. Let's put this down here. Yeah, so let's get to it then. The money isn't in the first DM. It's in the 5th, 7th, and 12th contact, whatever you want to go up to. So anyway, here is a 2026 blueprint without being a pest, without being an annoyance, because you don't want to do that. You don't want to upset people. You don't want to... there's a better way. There's normally a better way. So, first things first. This is my first note. It's like breadth versus depth. You need the depth, you need the verticals, and you need to get them right. But you also don't want to spend too much time on the people who really statistically aren't going to matter. So the horizontal, the breadth, automation. Use this for low stakes reminders. If they haven't replied to an initial inquiry, an automated sequence, 3, 4 emails, maybe even 5, keeps your name in their inbox. And this handles the, oh, sorry, I was just busy. Oh, sorry, I didn't get back to you crowd. And that's so many people. It's so many people, even down the line. You think that you've got a client, you think that they're interested, and they are, which is why you got to follow up. But they just don't be messaging you back. And you just got to keep following up. You've got to keep following up until they realize that you're not going to stop following up. And it sounds psychopathic, but it is the way to go. It is the way to go, because they, as long as you think that they appreciate, you following up, then that's the way to go. I think one good way to think about it is like this, and this is something I realized kind of today, is that if you are an agency or something like that, and you have constantly someone, or you're a small business, and you have someone like me coming in your DMs every day being like, do you want a website? Do you want a website? Obviously not every day. That would be terrible. But someone following up, someone being like, do you want this? Do you want this? I can give you this. I can give you this. And they're actual genuine things that this target market wants, which I wouldn't be messaging anyone who isn't actually interested in the stuff that I'm selling, right? Like, crucially. Then if they say, no, I've already got one, I'm not going to harass them anymore. If they say, I'm not interested, I'm going to say why, but then I'm not going to harass them anymore. If they don't reply to me, I'll come back, because I know what it's like to have the dilemma of being like, oh, this thing's really useful, but honestly, I'm so busy right now, I don't have the time to respond to them. Or you're in the middle of something, so you just don't want to. You just want to ignore the email. I do it literally all the time. It doesn't mean that I don't want that offer in my inbox. Not going to lie. And if you know that you're going to keep having this offer in your inbox, you know that you can leave it until the time is right. And that's a superpower. That's really good. So that's definitely the way I see it. Not going to lie. If you are fully just harassing people, that's an L. That's a major L. Things people talk about, like pattern interrupts and stuff, and saying stuff that gets people's attention but has nothing to do with what they actually want or need. Saying crazy stuff like, would you rather a gay son or a thought daughter as their first line in the outreach email? It's like, what are we doing at that point? You know what I mean? So that's not the move. There's always better ways. So that's kind of point number one. And then so the vertical. So for high value leads, don't use automation. Do it manually. This is a personalized video like a Loom or a voice note that references something specific that they posted like 10 minutes ago. In a world of AI bots, human-to-human interaction is huge like that. And something like taking your time out to record a video, I think most people still see that as a huge thing. You know what I mean? Because this was a world where people would just pick up the phone, like 10 years ago. But now people record videos with stuff like Loom. And that's crazy to think about. Like, picking up the phone was the norm. If you can make, if you send a Loom call to a client, if you're a client and you receive a personalized Loom call, you know that there's something cooking here. And so that's really good. It shows quality with the service you're going with, and that's just ideal. That's just great. So yeah, that's that. Human to human is kind of the new luxury, if that makes sense. I think that's so true. So that's again effectiveness versus efficiency. If you missed that episode, what are you doing? Real talk. So okay, let's set this new chest up. I think I can do this. I know I can do this. Okay. What's the timer on? We didn't start it. Of course we didn't. Of course we didn't. It's fine. We've been going for 10 minutes already. That's really tragic. Let's put it on 5 minutes. Hold on. Gotta reset it for some reason. Actually, some of this info is pretty good. We could go on for a bit longer. We actually will. Spoilers, because I'm a goofball, and I will. Okay. Good. We got all those things put away now. Okay. Next, using AI for intel, not just text. Okay, so letting AI write your follow-ups. The problem is prospects can smell an AI chatbot from a million miles away. They kind of just know what they sound like now. But that's not the end of the story, right? Whoa. Oh my days. Yeah, you thought, pal. Get cooked. That's another grass block for the boys. So, the pros use AI to summarize a lead's recent podcast appearance or their company's quarterly report, their LinkedIn activity, their social media. Social media probably is a bigger one because that's all businesses, small to big. The strategy is that you use the AI generated summary to write one sentence, a one sentence kind of follow up that is kind of not super elaborate. You're not getting AI to do crazy legwork. You're getting AI to do the effective work, right? So my point is that if you're just doing a simple follow up to someone who hasn't replied, that should be an automated message that that's pre-written, right? But if you have the opportunity to scour the web, see what their most recent posts are, if you can get AI to do that, get it to do that. But then that's kind of the back end work. Then what you don't need to then do is like get AI to write the whole message, send it, and then it just looks like AI and that there was never ever a human in the loop, right? So my point is that AI can be helpful, but don't make it do all the legwork in moments like that. I think that makes sense. That was a pretty midpoint, not gonna lie. Let's move on. So the phrase checking in is a death sentence, right? If you follow up with someone, it's so much better to say, hey, just checking in than nothing. However, it's so much better to, at every follow-up step, every time you follow up, add something new. Give a new marketing angle. Give the same thing, but from a new perspective, yeah? Because, we have no doubt here. Because people may be interested in your offer. You maybe just didn't frame it well, to be honest. Right, I'm gonna actually patch this up because if we're gonna stay here, you already know. You know what? Whatever. I can't be bothered. All right. I reckon let's lower all this down, and then we can just build in this little pit thing. So yeah, every follow-up must provide a gift. Examples being a relevant case study, a news article about their competitor, or a quick tip they can use immediately. You want them to think, every time this guy emails me, he gives me value. And if you go that step further, then it's just that human connection is just reinstated. If it really is personalized all the way, people will just give in and be like, okay, that's fine. It's more like if I give this guy a conversation, it's not going to be a waste of my time. So that's how you get in. Remember that clients become friends way quicker than friends become clients. And when you realize that, clients, they really do become your friend. You're not some annoyance. You're not some nuisance in their inbox at that point in time. So that's good. The last one is when a lead goes cold for like 2+ weeks, what do you do? Don't try and be nice. If you started on a project with them, and you really did like keep them looped in, make it interactive, make it engaging, what you can then just say is, have you given up on this project? And the reason why is it triggers a loss aversion, and people hate giving up on things. It forces a clear yes or no. That's the main thing. It makes them make a decision. Don't say it in a way that's like that makes you sound like a dick. So don't really say, have you given up on this project? That's there's better ways to say it. Like the same way how you should never say no in a negotiation. You should just say anything else but no. Like I can't because XYZ, or how can I do that because XYZ, as opposed to saying no, because that's not helpful. So have you given up on this project isn't exactly the most helpful way to put it, but the reason why I'm saying it is because that clearly makes sense to you. It's a clear way of saying it. You're saying, have you given up on this project? It triggers their loss aversion. They make a decision, but also, it touches on their guilt, because that's the biggest thing when someone ghosts you, that they're going to feel guilty about it. They made you do some work for them, and now all of a sudden they're ghosting you because they can't hack it. They may be busy. They may be They may have been busy. They may be overwhelmed. All these types of things may be the real reason why they just ghosted you. So take it into consideration. So lastly is a bit of source on kind of the pros and cons of like 2026 tech. So how do you actually practically follow up in 2026? When do you use automation? When don't you? What do you mean automation, Manny? What are you talking about? So here's a bit of help on that. So full automation. The pros are massive scale, zero manual labor. The cons, a lot of cons. Extremely high spam detection, and it can feel cold. So it's going to be the least personalized, or at least without AI, it's definitely going to be the least personalized. It's literally going to be a one-of-one manual type message, and it's not going to feel personalized. But the spam detection is going to possibly go off. It's the trickiest. So full automation, we're talking like fully automating a procedure. That it's not easy. It's not easy, right? So you've got to learn automation. One way you can do it is through this app called N8N. N8N. It's an automation platform. It's really good. I don't have like a sponsor or anything. I've been using it for 2 years, and you can do anything with it. You just got to learn it. So I recommend that, to be able to do automation and to be able to do crazy stuff where you're fully automating the whole thing, like an entire like email campaign where you completely automate the lead scraping, filtering, writing the emails, qualifying them, writing the emails, sending the emails, following up on the emails. All of those things you can fully automate with AI, which is crazy. So that's what I'm setting up right now in my business. Fully automated emails, basically, apart from leads that give positive replies where I will see to it manually, one-to-one, because one, we don't want an AI slipping up at that point in the process, and two, on the flip side of that same point, it's a completely fine return on my time, right? We don't need AI at that point in time. In the future, when AI is really good, then that'll be fine. But it's just safer for me to do it myself, and then I can start sending like Loom videos, like we explained, where it's one-to-one, and it's just clear that it's not AI. Yeah, so that really puts the happiness in the eyes of the potential client. Next one, AI personalization. So this is kind of what I'm talking about, but the reason why I put it as a different thing is visualize it like yourself, what you think it is right now. So it does fast research, handles the hook, but it can like hallucinate facts and can sound robotic. Like even though AI sounds quite human compared to how it used to, you can still tell, right? So you can see what I mean. So the real cons of AI personalization is that it can often sound robotic and often hallucinate. So it's your job to make sure it doesn't. It's your job to fix that, yeah? And then last one, manual. So the highest conversion rate builds real trust because you can do things like film a video rather than send text manually. If it's text, you should not be sending it, yeah? If it's email, you should not be sending it. If it's cold calling, it has to be a voice still. But then there's a question about, what about cold call follow-ups? What about AI follow-ups? Maybe get the AI to dial those numbers if they haven't replied to the first or second call, yeah? Because then it's already diminishing returns, but you could still get voicemails in there and stuff. So that's the good part, and that's where you're getting into that territory where the lead realizes that you're not going to leave them alone, but it could still be an absolute no, and that's why they're kind of not responding, right? So the problem is with manual is, of course, it doesn't scale and it's high mental bandwidth. It takes your time. Gang, we have not done much this episode, but we have migrated our chests. We have moved them. I guess it's important. What should the house be? What should the house be? I've been asking this since like episode 1, but it's all good. Yeah, really hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want me to go over any topics. Following up is really important. It is just a case of how, really. There's that one thing to top it off is there's a stat that is a lead needs 7 touch points on average before they convert, which is crazy to think about. Those 7 touch points will probably include, just pre-sale, so after they've been qualified and booked the call, all these types of things. but it's still a touch point, right? You need to get those touch points in as early as possible. You need to get as many touch points in as you can at any point in the process that is justified, because those touch points do make a difference, but you don't want to exhaust the customer. So just keep that in mind, right? 7 touch points. That it's not 2 touch points. I feel like that's the point. All right. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you tomorrow, and have a very good day.